Hey guys, and welcome to part 8 of my Paradise Rainbow Mandala Crochet Along. In today's video we're going to be working on rounds 47 to 54. I've got a couple of surprises for you along the way, especially in rounds 53 and 54, but we'll get to that. So I'm going to stick with the same colours I used in part 7, or very similar colours. So I'm going to be using my dark one, this really bright one here, and my not so bright one, even though that's still pretty bright. So follow me back on for the next part of this video, where we will start on round 47. Right, round 47. So what we're going to do is I'm starting with a new colour. I'm going back to my dark colour for this one. And I'm going to start in the round the third post back from the cluster, what we got there. Got 1, 2 and 3. I do apologise about any ambient noise in this video today. It's lockdown, the weather's nice and the neighbours are out in the gardens, can't be helped. Right, so what we're going to do is in this first space we're going to do a granny cluster, which is just 3 double crochets in the same space. So 1, 2 and 3. Then if you got a space with a cluster underneath it, this is what we're going to do. So we're going to do 1 double crochet, yarn over twice, and then jump down to this cluster direct underneath it and do a triple, and then in the same space do a double. So we're just going to do this whilst we have these clusters underneath, and then I'll show you what we're doing in the middle. So I've just got one more space with a cluster under. So you can see that we just the makes these really stand out with this stitch around them. Alright, so we've got a little bit of a funny dip in our pattern here, which is fine. What you can do is yarn over twice, and we're going down to this single crochet with a back post stitch. 1, 2 and 3. Then yarn over once for a double crochet in the stitch what's in the middle. And yarn over twice, and we're going back down to the single crochet down here. It's in the middle of the first row of clusters from the last section what we've done. Just put a little reference point there for you. And then we're going to yarn over and go into the next space above a cluster, and we're going to do what we did on the left hand side. So I am working a little bit faster than normal today because we have a lot to do. So this is my last kind of like long stitch around the cluster. And then I'm back to the other side where I'm just going to do the regular granny shell, which is just 3 double crochets in the same space. Just like that. And we're not going to chain or anything because we don't need to. We're going to skip 2 stitches and go into this round this third one for a back post single. Oops. And that secures that on there nicely. And what we're going to do is we are going to do back post single crochets all the way over to the other side, where we're going to stop with 2 spare stitches left. So that is basically taking you back to the same as where we started. So I'm not going to do all these back post singles on camera because I don't want to bore you to death. So I'm going to leave you to finish the round where you're going to connect the round with a slip stitch on that first back post single crochet. So I will see you back on round 48 where it's a bit of a similar row, so these rows will go quite fast for you today. Right, round 48, we're going to start with a new colour. So a slip knot, and then we are going to count 2 back, same as last time. So 1, 2, and we are just going to do a regular single crochet, a standing single crochet this time. So we're not going through the back, we are actually just going through the stitch. Just like that, because I want these stitches to be a little bit higher. So, like before, we're just going to do a granny shell into our first available space, which is this big one right here. So that is just 3 double crochets, like normal. Then we're just going to move on to the next with a double crochet, then a long stitch, so a treble, around this cluster. And a double crochet. Then in the next spaces, what we're going to do is we are just going to do the same like we have been doing. So, but this time we're going to be attaching over, well, around these ones. So yarn over twice, and we're just doing like this. So basically, it's similar similar way to doing the mosaic granny. If any of you have done that before. There's 3 stitches going into each gap, so your first one's for double crochet, second one's your treble or triple or whatever it is, one where you yarn over twice, and your third one is your double again. So we're just going to work like this until we nearly hit the middle, where I will talk you through what we're doing there. So I am nearly there. So where we've got these stitches here, you can see we've now made enough room to be able to go in to either side next to it. So this is just going to, it's the same width as one of the other ones, so we just go to the left of it for a double, then yarn over twice, and you're coming underneath to this stitch, which is just to the left. And then again with a double. Skip over this, and this will just draw in a little bit, so don't worry. It's all about symmetry on these kind of patterns. So what you do on the left, you do on the right also. So just continuing across this row. Oops, that's a little scraggy there. What I'll do is I'll stop when I get to my last space, and then I'll just be able to show you what we've just done. Right, so on this last one, as you can see, I'm going to yarn over twice, and that's actually just going round that cluster. And then in the last space, we're just going to do 3 regular double crochet stitches. So there's nothing that complicated going on at the moment. Right, now we've just done that last granny shell there, so we're going to skip 2. So skip this one, skip that one, and go into that third for a single crochet. So as you can see, this middle bit's starting to kind of flatten itself out a little bit. You can give these stitches a bit of a tug. They will, you don't have to be gentle with them. But as we progress over the next couple of rows, this does start to flatten out, which is exactly what we need. So what we're going to do over this middle section is we are going to put one single crochet in every stitch across. Again, we're not going to be doing a chain one stitch in the middle. It's not really necessary at the moment because we're trying to flatten this out, because we don't want a point on this anymore. We're trying to flatten it out and then we'll make a new point. So I'm just going across a couple more, 1, 2, and then so I have 2 stitches left, and then the stitch is the same as where we started. So again, at the continue on, and at the end of the round you're just going to do a slip stitch to that first standing single crochet, where I will then see you back for round 49. Right guys, round 49, and I have another new colour, still in, using light pinks for this section. So this is virtually the exact same as the previous row, apart from we're doing back post singles. So go into your third single crochet with a back post single crochet into that third stitch, and then what we're going to do is we are going to do a regular granny cluster into this first space. So that's 3 double crochets right there. My yarn's getting caught up, and then in every other space, or in every space even, we are going to do the same. So the middle stitch is connected to the stitch underneath with a treble, and then a double. And the reason for using a different colour for each row is then your work stands out a little bit more, and it shows off the stitch pattern as well. So I'm just going to take you to the middle of this section, just to try and cut video time down a little bit, so I can spend longer on the rows what we really need to be concentrating on a bit later on. Oh, these colours look a bit glary on the camera, I do apologise for that. Right, now we've got this middle space where we've got these couple of different stitches in a different order there. So we're just going to do a double crochet, then yarn over twice, and we're going to go for this front post double crochet in the middle. Oops, 1, 2 and 3, and then a double crochet in that same gap. And that should take you to a proper height, because it will dip in there, but as you can see it's levelled itself off quite nicely. So we're just going to continue with our mosaic stitch, our mosaic granny stitch even. The yarn's gripping a little bit today, so I'm struggling to work as fast as normal. So we're nearly to the end of this kind of like granny mosaic row here. I've just got a couple more to do. So on this next stitch, to put that double in there. So on this in this next gap, there's just a granny cluster underneath. So you're just going to go through and do a front post round that middle double crochet, and it's just going to look the same as everything else. And then in this last space, just after your last granny cluster, you're just going to do another granny cluster. So that's 2 and 3 double crochets. And it won't surprise you, we're going to skip the first 2 stitches and round the first. We're just going to do a back post single crochet, and then we're going to do a back post single crochet until you've only got 2 stitches left here. So that's going to be round 49 for you guys, and I will be back for round 50. Right, round 50. Wow, 50 rounds. Right, so I'm starting off with a new colour on my hook. I've chosen to go back with my dark colour again, just because, yeah, it just looks nice. And then I'm going to start like I have been doing with the back post standing single crochet round the third one back. Nice easy row again for this one. And what we're going to do is we are going to do a regular granny cluster into this first available space. So it's a bit difficult to see what I'm doing there. And then in every space all the way along here, we are going to do our mosaic granny. So that is 1 double crochet, yarn over twice, jump down a row, do a front post stitch, jump back up, and in the same space do a double crochet. So that's all we're doing across this entire section. So what you're going to do is when you get to the other side, you are going to skip the first 2 posts on the stitches, go into the first with a back post single crochet, and you're going to back post single crochet over this tip until you have 2 stitches left. So there's 1, there's 2. So that's basically all there is for this row. So I'm not going to do the entire thing because it's pretty easy to do. So if you need the instructions again, you can just wind this section of video back and have another listen. So I will see you on round 51. For round 51, 52 and 53 and possibly 54 if we have time, I'm going to be completely changing colourways. So I'm going to not be using pink and purple. I'll probably switch on to using blues. So I will see you then. Right, round 51, and we have another easy round for you. So I'm going on to a very similar colour, but it's kind of like a blue colour because I'm now working this next part in blue shades. So what you want to do is, by this point we should, since we've been decreased in these, we should only have 8 single crochets by this point up. If you've got 9, or if you've got slightly more, slightly less, just pick your middle stitch, because this, not this round but the next round, you can kind of do a bit of a course correct on the amount of stitches you should have. So I'm going to count 4 back, so 1, 2, 3 and 4, and inside that stitch I'm going to do a standing single half double crochet. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm making a new point, so I'm going to do a single chain and then also another half double crochet in that same stitch. So since I can't remember how many stitches I have across here, in every single stitch I come across I'm going to then do a back post half double. So I'm not going to do all the way, but what I will do is on the next clip, or what I'll do is I'll kind of crochet along and then I'll just come back and tell you how many stitches you should have between this first one, the second stitch, and the first half of the point on the next part, if that makes sense. So bear with me for a second and I will be back. Right, so I've just gone all the way across here with back post half double crochets. So not including this first stitch, because that's 1/2 of our point. So going from a second stitch to the first half of our point on this side, which is like a normal stitch, as you can see, I have 58 stitches. in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we've got 58 stitches on each side. So this, since this is our point again, you can chain one and do another half double crochet into there, and then back to doing your back post half double crochets, and we're going to do that for one round, so until you get to the other side, where we're just going to use the same colour for the next round, I think. Yes, why not? So don't cut your colour off, just slip stitch to join, and then I will catch you back on row 52. Right, so I'm just on the last couple of stitches of row 51. So I'm just going to do this last couple of half double crochets with you, or for you, or however you want to look at it. So there's 3. Then don't forget this 4th one, because you should have 4 stitches here, or 4 post stitches to go around. So don't forget that one. And then you're back to your point here, as you can see. So I'm just going to slip stitch into there. Now I am going to be using the same colour, so this is now going to be round 52. So I've not actually. Yeah, we're going to slip stitch into this point and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. This is going to class as a double crochet. 4 and 5 is going to be our new point, and then do a double crochet into this space. So when it comes back to slip stitching at the end of this round, you're going to count up 3 chains and slip stitch into those 3 chains, so you end up with a nice point there. So what we're going to do now is a nice easy boring round. Is in every single stitch we're just going to do a double crochet. So don't forget to just move that to one side and make sure you get that first stitch in there, and away you go. It's not nice and easy round for now. Right, so I'm just going to continue on. I won't bore you with details because really there isn't any for this one. Just make sure you get into your right stitches, and you just can't go wrong with this round at all. So it's just a double crochet in each round, and these should start curving upwards because we're making a bit of a new point now. Right, so I will join you back on round 53, where I'm going to be using a completely random colour, because we're going to be doing some surface crocheting across here, and also we're going to be making some slight detail across one of these rows. It is optional, you don't have to put it in if you don't want to, but I have, and I think it looks nice. So if you want to give that a go, you can do. If you want to leave it out, you can leave it out as well. It doesn't really matter. I just thought I'd add that in as a little bit of a bonus. So I will see you back for round 53. Right guys, so this next 2 rounds are going to be completely optional. If you want to do them, brilliant. If you don't, that's also fine. I just wanted to add these couple of rounds in here. So I'm going to call this round 53, and then the next one's going to be round 53A, and the next round's going to be round 54A. So when I release the next segment of the mandala pattern, I'm just going to start back from round 53, so not to be confused. So what we're going to do is we are going to find a yarn which completely contrasts with any of these colours what we've used here. So I'm going to go for this light blue yarn, because this is going to, I want this colour to appear in the next part of my mandala. So it'll kind of tie itself in. So what we're going to do is we're going to start back on round 45, which for me is this light pink one here. So if you count back from this row where you've got these post stitches coming from, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's 4 rows above it, you should have 20 stitches there. this one and that one. So what we're going to do is yarn over 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now I always find it better if you hold these with your finger. It saves you coming off. And what we're going to do is we're going to work into the front loops only on this little section. So it does take a bit of fiddly to get in there. And then what we're going to do is yarn over, come through, yarn over, come through 2, yarn over, come through 2, yarn over, come through 2, and yarn over and come through the last 2. Now this can be a bit awkward, I do apologise, but just take your time. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do the same stitch in each one across here, just going into your front loops only. So yarn over 3 times. It does help if you fold your work a little bit and you just come up through that front loop. Just like that. Just take a bit of getting used to doing these long stitches, but yeah, you'll get there. So you do one in each stitch until you get to the other side. I'm going to make a jumping video and I will come back when I've done these stitches. Right, so continuing on, I now have 22 of these long stitches going from one side to the other. Don't worry if you think these are looking a bit funny, because what's going to happen on the next round is they will get pinned down and put into place, and they'll look something like this. So that's like a nice bit of a 3D effect there. So moving on, just grab my loop back. I'm going to slip stitch to the back of this stitch, so it's into that back loop there. Just with a slip stitch. It can be a little bit awkward, just like that. And don't worry if this is looking a bit skew-if, it's fine. Right, now where do we want to go? Right, I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then I'm just going to come down to where this cluster is here, and I'm just going to go through there. And I'm going to do a single crochet. So now this is on the row we want to be doing our surface crocheting along. So it's going to be going along the top of the second set of clusters what we've got in this section. So chain 2, and then go underneath this cluster and do a single crochet. So it's like a front post. Chain 2 again. You don't. It's always best if you ease off any tension a little bit for doing these. You don't want it to be coming in this way. Go around your next cluster with a single crochet. Chain 2. So this is what we're just going to be doing over these clusters. So it's a single crochet with a chain 2 between. You don't have to wiggle these about a bit to make sure they're sitting in the right place, and as you can see it's making a nice line directly across your work. Right, so chain 2, and I'm gonna just go around this long stitch here. It's the 2 long stitches what we've got in the middle of that section. So again with another single crochet. Chain 1, because we don't have that much space in between, so just a chain 1 will do, and then a single crochet around the next. Chain 2, and now this is just the exact same as what we've just done on the other side. So it's a single crochet with a chain 2 in between. Picking up one cluster at a time. After you've done your last cluster, you're chaining 2. See, it makes a really nice straight line, does that. And then you're just going to go to where this cluster is, do a single crochet, and now our trick is to get back up to here. So it should be this first stitch there. So chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and slip stitch into the front loop only on this stitch. If you count back from 22 to make sure you're getting into the right place. Should be this one. Just going to give that a slip stitch and then chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So this chain 5 is basically your first long stitch in the row of 22 what you need. So I want you to carry on with this round if you can. If you are following this round, I'll just zoom the camera back out so you get a better view. So when we, if they're not meant to lie completely flat, this will kind of like wobble forwards and backwards a bit, but if I pull it a little bit you can see what we've just done. So I will see you back for round 34B or 34A. I'll just call it a number or a letter, it'd be fine. And then what we're going to do on the next round is pin these down, and we'll be doing another layer of surface crocheting, but this time going upwards and across. So I will see you back then. Happy crocheting, guys. Right, so I've just come into the end of round 53A, so let's call this 54A. So I've done my chain 3 after my last single crochet, which is just to the right hand side of this cluster. So now I'm going to slip stitch it into both loops of this first stitch where my long stitch is going into. So I'm going to get both loops with this because it's only a slip stitch. Right, so technically this is the end of the last round. So I've already woven in this tail to get it out of the way, so I took it down here and across underneath, just to make it easier to do this part of the video. So what I'm going to do now for this first stitch, I'm just going to grab it and I'm going to slip stitch it to the back loop of the row we've just gone into. So I'm just going to pull this a little, it is a bit fiddly. So that's just going into the back loop with a slip stitch. Right, so what we need to do for all these other long stitches is we're catching the back loop of the long stitch. So we're going in there and we're catching this stitch down here. So this is the same stitch as, if you follow it down, it's the same stitch as where it's coming out of. And we're just going to slip stitch. Oops. Now this does get a little fiddly, especially when I'm trying to demonstrate on camera. Slip stitch and slip stitch. And then you catch the next one and the next one behind. So slip stitch, and we're just going to do this for every stitch across. And what this is going to do is it's going to pin these down and make this really nice 3D stitch effect. You do need to make sure you're going into the correct loop at the back because it does end up getting a bit wonky if you catch the wrong ones. So I'm going to continue on with these little bits off camera, and then I will be back to show you what we're going to do over there. So I will be back soon. Right, so continuing on, as you can see, I've finished all my long stitches, and that's how it should be looking at the back. So you can't really see it, and I just love this 3D effect what this gives. Just adds another dimension to your blanket here. Right, so I'm just going to pick up my loop again. So this is the last stitch I've gone through here. Sorry, it's I've had to zoom in my camera just so you can see properly. So I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2 and 3, and if you look up where this cluster is, where you did your first single crochet. If you go directly up this row, not to this treble, but to the top one, which is just the one before I change colours up here. So you can do a single crochet around this one, because then it kind of makes it the same as the bottom, and then we're going to be going around this the row below and the row we've just gone into, so with a chain one in between this time. So it's just a stitch and a chain one, stitch and a chain one. Because that's enough space in between for it not to start gathering up. So I'm just going to continue on doing one chain and one stitch, one single crochet even. So I'm not doing these overly tight, you know, keeping the tension a little bit looser than I normally would, because then that guarantees that it's not going to bunch up, especially especially if you are one of these people who does crochet a little bit on the tight side. So it just means making a small adjustment. Right, so on this middle one, so I'm in this middle now, and I'm just going to do the same. So we're not really changing anything across this row. But one single crochet and one chain, and we're going from one row down and back up to the next row. But when it's finished, it will just make a straight line. The reason I have to say that these two rows are purely optional, because I think it looks nice without them. I think it looks nice with them also. So yeah, I'd wanted to do a couple of things along the way which are also different, but also you have a choice whether to do them or not. So I'm just going to budge these up a little bit, put them in the places where they need to be, and you can see how it sits. So it just adds another thickness, another layer. Right, so the last one you want to be going into is the corresponding one on this side. So on this side it would be, let's see, the stitch we're in now. So it's kind of, you go up and it's one across. So if you go up from this cluster up to the third one, then jump across to that one. So what we want to do now is actually just do one more, because I've just seen that I've gone into this purple one on mine. So yeah, it is in fact straight up from the cluster, and then you want to chain 3, 1, 2, oops, 2 and 3. It's because I'm holding my yarn different, and then I'm going to slip stitch into where this slip stitch down here is, but I'm going to kind of go, rather than trying to go behind, I'm going to go over, and I'm going to go through both loops, because then it's going to trap this chain in there also. Oops. So catch both loops. And then we're back to the start. So you're going to just catch the entire of this first stitch. You're going to look down to where this first one's coming out of. Now this first one is a little bit tricky. And slip stitch that down. You have to make sure you're not getting tangled up in anything. you can just pop that back out. Let's try that again. Even I struggle sometimes. Oh, well, I'm actually going to try going through the back of this stitch just for this one. Might be easier. Yeah. There we go, and then the rest of them you do as normal. Just catch the back loop and go through the corresponding loop behind with a slip stitch. So that is basically the pattern repeat for that 2 rows. So this is the end of part 8 now, and I will be releasing part 9 shortly. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I am on Instagram if any of you want to tag me in any of your projects. Doesn't matter whether it's this one or one of my other ones. My Instagram is Crochet Kyle. So until next time, keep stitching, stay safe, and I'll see you all soon. Bye!